Who are the best midfield picks to start your FPL season with? Well guys, in this video we're going to be going through each and every single price point in the midfield to decide who are the best picks. That way you guys can solve your dilemmas as to who you're going to pick to start off your FPL season with. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here's a stat for you guys. Over 70% of you guys watching are not subscribed. Now, let's make a deal. So in the next few minutes, if you guys get the value that you're looking for from this video, please do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It would honestly make a huge difference in helping me and my one-man team, bringing you guys more content throughout the season. So, sounds like a deal? Let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get straight into it. Now, I think let's just clear the air. Firstly, Salah and Palmer, we don't even need to talk about those guys because they basically form the very much pillars of your teams. So skipping those guys and moving on to the next bracket, which very much forms the 10 million to 8.5, which is Saka, Bruno, Wirtz, and Marmoush. Now, for me, I have Wirtz as number one in this category because of, I think he's in a very good team, great players around him, and I believe he is short in for minutes. He's had a really great preseason with them as well. So I think in terms of him being a pick and effectiveness, yes, his fixtures might not be necessarily the best, but I mean, he's an attacking player. I always feel like whether it's a difficult fixture or not, I feel like an attacking player still has more opportunity in terms of actually getting a goal away there or not. I think the one tough fixture there for them in this fixture run is really Arsenal. Newcastle haven't necessarily been looking good. Marmoush really being so more number two, but the issue I have with Marmoush is it's Pep, and you know Pep roulette. You just don't know whether or not he's going to play. I do believe he will start, but let's just say out of these first 7 fixtures, how many do you think he's going to start? And besides starting, how many do you think he's going to really clear 70 minutes? That's the issue I have with Marmoush. Really great pick, nice price point, but not necessarily the best. Bruno, it's really just more so because he's in Man United. They're really building, so you don't necessarily know how they're going to kick off and start necessarily. The fixtures aren't all that great. I mean, they're playing with Arsenal at home. I think it's a wait and see, but knowing that he is a great midfielder in terms of DEFCON and attacking, even though he's going to be in the deep role, I think like he's still a great pick in this thing. But he falls at number 3 for me. Saka more so number 4. He just has that thing where after every single game he's like limping off, and you don't know, with Arteta press conferences not necessarily giving you all information that you need to make a decision. 10.0, he's number 4 more so because if you find 0.5 million, you can just go up to a Palmer, you know. So they also don't have the best fixtures right now. Their fixtures really turn at game week 7. So I'd really more so go with, as I mentioned, Wirtz at number 1, Marmoush rather at number 2 because the fixtures also look great, and then Bruno Fernandes at number 3, and really consider Saka last. So that's my decision when it comes to the premium midfield. Let us go into another bracket, which is the 8.0 midfield picks. Now for me over here, it's sort of hard because you find a 0.5 million and then you can just go up to Marmoush or a Wirtz, and I think that's really what's been happening over here. So we haven't necessarily really been considering these guys. Cunha and Mbeumo are in Man United. Please disregard the pick, the kits there. You can see the fixtures are Man United fixtures, and right now I think with them we just have to wait and see as to like how they play, where they're playing, how effective they are as well. At the same time, that team is fairly new, you know, they're really getting to know each other. They haven't necessarily all had a preseason together, an entire preseason together, with players coming in pieces throughout this transfer window. Martin Odegaard for me hasn't necessarily been, sorry about that, Martin Odegaard hasn't necessarily been the best pick, FPL pick in seasons for me, but I think every season I'm sort of hoping he becomes that midfield maestro who's like just becoming an assist master, but he's always the pass before the assist, and he's not necessarily a man for DEFCON points, so you're always looking at getting like a 2 next game week, and then out of nowhere you'll get like 10 because maybe he scored a penalty or he's assisted and he scored. So in terms of consistency, not all that great. Foden is somebody who we haven't even been speaking about because last season was absolutely horrifying, hardly played, and we haven't seen anything both in the Club World Cup, even in preseason. They haven't even had preseason, you know, they just got back to training and they're only really going to have one game. So for me, I wouldn't be considering any of the picks in this category, and I think that's what I really wanted to do, is just cover them, just so that I've covered them and you know like what my thoughts are when it comes to these guys. But for me, these guys are a no-go. I think, you know, you can either go up to the guys at 8.5 and higher, or, you know, 7.5 below, where there's actually much better picks. So when it comes to the 7.5, sorry, my graphics are like going up and stuff. Now 7.5 midfield picks for me, I think, you know, there's a lot of great guys here, starting off with Cody Gakpo, having had a very amazing preseason. In fact, really turning my head, in all honesty, considering he's 1 million less than Wirtz, but just afraid of how Wirtz can actually be so effective there. I think he's somebody that could even rival, you know, Palmer, and I think he could be a steal where you don't want to be on a different asset and then Wirtz really does well, and then now his price is going up and then you trying to get him into your squad. So Cody Gakpo, I think, is at a good price where you can start on somewhere else and then come down to him. He's short in locked with Luis Diaz not being there, so the issue is more so his fixtures, along with the fact that they've just got so many players in that attack. The goal share is just going to be really spread out, and at the same time, you know that he's not the main guy. So 7.5, you want to get somebody who's a main guy like Eze, who's at Crystal Palace. Yes, tough fixtures, but you know a lot of things will definitely be going through him, and he's really involved when it comes to that, the goals there in terms of like goal share. So him, Mateta, and Sarr being there, I think usually Sarr becomes the pass before the assist, and Eze becoming the assist or the person who scores. Mateta more so who scores. But yeah, if he stays at Crystal Palace, I think he's definitely one that you can consider, and number one more so than anybody here for me. I think number two, I would put Gibbs White, because nothing's really changed there at Nottingham Forest, in all honesty, besides Elanga leaving, and they've got a new winger there. I don't want to say, I think it's Ndoye, you know, who's been sounding very promising, and you know, from pundits and so on. And so if he comes in and does as well or even better, nothing's really changed. You know, it's the sky's the limit. They've got really great fixtures, and for me, that's why he's really coming in at number 2, Gakpo number 3, because the fixtures not necessarily looking all that great. Gordon, there's just too much drama going on at Newcastle. I don't think it's worth it. Yes, fine, because Isak is not there, he becomes somewhat the main man, but at the same time, it's sort of like he now has a huge responsibility on him, and can he handle really playing Aston Villa, Liverpool as well? And like, I don't think that they'll get the goals, but I don't think it's worth it at 7.5 million. I think you could go elsewhere and get easier fixtures as well. And I think Gordon would have been a much better option if we knew Isak was there, and they've had a really good preseason as well. So those are my picks there, really. I think Eze number 1 if he stays at Crystal Palace, Gibbs White number 2 because great fixtures, Gakpo number 3 because he's really having a great time preseason. We know he's locked in there for minutes on the left hand side. Goal share is just too much. Gordon's just got too much drama. But yeah, that's 7.5 for me. Let us move on to the 6.5 million midfield picks, and at 6.5 million picks for me, I skip 7.0 because Morgan Rogers is the clear and out pick over there. I don't think there's any other options I'm willing to go for or even talk about in 7.0. So it's Morgan Rogers, and then you know it's these guys for me, and I would straight away going to say number 1 for me is a Kudus, because he's had a preseason with the guys. In terms of the number 10 role, with Maddison being out, he could be number 1 there, as well as pick on the right with Brendan Johnson's coming onto the left, being moved to the left with Son being gone. So in terms of minutes, he's definitely secure. Fixtures look good as well. And so even if Kulusevski does come back, I feel like he's still going to be a locked in, you know, and we know how good he is in terms of player. So I feel like he could have a really big impact on Tottenham with these good fixtures. I think we can look past the Man City fixture. Iliman Ndoye coming in number 2 for me. He's got great 3 fixtures to start off with. You know, I think he's got the tough 2 fixtures, Aston Villa, Liverpool there. Aston Villa, at least he's playing at home. Brighton as well, a bit of a tough fixture, but at least he's playing at home. And then, you know, he's got West Ham as well, who we'll see really how well they've done. They've had a really good preseason themselves. So I think for me, Iliman Ndoye is at number 2, also knowing that he's on penalties. Grealish has been linked with them. Dewsbury Hall is also going to be coming. So there is a bit of an effect there that could happen, and it could go either both ways in terms of minutes being taken away from him, or it could go well in terms of the fact that now he's playing with much better players, he could be more effective. So we'll have to wait and see there. But he is at number 2, with Mitoma at number 3 for me, because he has the highest XG out of all of these guys from last season, and we all know how effective he is and a great player he is. It's just the fixtures aren't necessarily as favorable as the 2 on the left. So that's where Mitoma really slots in for me. Enzo, not more so number 4 out of, you know, other picks, because, you know, he's got favorable fixtures, but he's not these guys, you know, he's not necessarily in the forefront, you know, of attack, because he plays more so deep. But in the Club World Cup, we saw how, yes, in formation he's deep, but in build up, but then when they get into the other half, he somewhat slots into some of a 10 role on the left. So and that changed as well. So we could see something like that, where he could be in more positions where he could be more scoring, and that's why for me I put him as number 4 pick. So these are the guys I would consider in that bracket. Of course, Kudus number 1, as I mentioned, and Ndoye number 2, Mitoma 4, and Enzo Mitoma 3, and Enzo number 4, for those real reasons, honestly. So let's look at the next category at 5.5, and I think again 5.5 midfield picks for me. I'm jumping over 6.0 because I don't feel like there's anybody worth it there. I mean, Paqueta is somebody to mention because they're playing Sunderland. Apart from that, the fixtures aren't necessarily all that great. I just feel like you could just save that 0.5 and come down to these guys, and straight away I think you guys, if you've been watching any other FPL experts as well, you'll find that Anderson is a huge big pick in the community because of the new DEFCON. He's been averaging, like, I think he walked away with like over 30 points last season in DEFCON. So he is a very nice set and forget. You add that along with the fact of he's got great fixtures to start off with, and he's also more so attacking. Now you have the defensive and the attacking properties. I think, bro, this guy is really a great option, you know, and that's why a lot of us FPL guys in the community are really, we're not considering. We have Anderson in our team. Other than that, if it wasn't for the DEFCON, we wouldn't be considering. We'd be looking more at the attacking 5.0 guys, which is number 2 for me, at Dingra, who is with Sunderland, has signed and has already been playing with them. Don't mind the kit over there. These are the Sunderland fixtures. The first 3 fixtures are actually really favorable. He will be playing on the left side. I think not on left or right, not sure, but he'll be playing on the wing, and short in for minutes. Definitely be given that freedom of role, knowing that, you know, you've got Xhaka, you've got Enzo Lafia as well behind him there as well. So, you know, he'll be like free roll, bro. Go and try and score, you know. So I think he's a great 5.5 because of that. He's more attacking. DEFCON, don't even consider him in terms of DEFCON points. Arias, I think, a great player. I saw him in the Club World Cup as well. Saw him in his first game for Wolves, also scored a very brilliant goal. That Man City fixture is really hard to look past, but he is another great player because you think of it like this. he's going to be fulfilling that role that Cunha has basically left behind. And if he can really fulfill it all that well at 5.5 in the midfield, imagine having a 5.5 Cunha type of player in the midfield. I think Strand Larsen's going to be at the end of those balls finishing them as well. So when you look past the Man City game, I think Bournemouth is good, Everton is good, Newcastle, will see if they've put themselves together, but they'll be starting Champions League there around game week 4, so they might have a bit of rotation problems. And then you got Leeds and then Tottenham. His fixtures look good after game week 2, you know. Gane Trezeguet, he for me is number 4 out of all these picks because yes, also got good first starting 3 fixtures, but he's mainly there because of DEFCON, also having a very high average percentage of DEFCON. So another one that's sort of set and forget and not have to worry about changing that 5.0. You can always leave him on the bench, but also at the same time, remember DEFCON is really there for when you have those tough games. You can play a player who can walk away with some extra points because of their, you know, contribution in terms of defensive responsibilities. And so he's having that high average. Even if you come to the Aston Villa game, you can play him. The Liverpool, you can play him. Those are the games where you want to play him because he's definitely going to walk away with those DEFCON points as well. Sorry, just need to cough there. Right, 5.0 midfield picks. Now, firstly, let's just mention we're not going to cover any 4.5s because I just feel like there's not anybody worth it going in 4.5 there. I think if you want to have 4.5 in your 8 attackers, you might as well look at Mark G in the forward line there, who's going to be playing for Sunderland. Might not start game week 1, but better option than any of the midfield 4.5s. That being said, number 1 for me, because of minutes, knowing he's securely going to be playing, it would be Balaba right now, but he is in contention with Dewsbury Hall, who has moved to Everton. I think it's official now because these are the Everton fixtures that I'm showing here below him, and I think he's going to walk straight into the starting lineup. The reason why he's number 2 for me is because he hasn't had preseason with them. You know, I think we've got 1 more week. Let's see what happens. You just don't, you know, if at 5.0 you're looking at him in terms of like another option to really do a bench boost with. So adding him to the team, you know, I don't want to say number 1 pick because you add him and then he doesn't play that first game week and you play the bench boost and I play like, dude, I don't know. You know, you're going to need Moyes to say, no, he will play the first game. But he's there at number 2 because he's more of an attacking prowess. Balaba coming in the sense that he can arrive late in the box, take great shots as well. But in terms of DEFCON, he was also very high up there with Anderson, Caicedo, as well as Gane Trezeguet from Everton. So 5.0, he's a set and forget because he has those minutes. Enzo Lafie as well, very attacking considering now that he has a Xhaka there that can be playing behind him. I think he's going to have a more of a freedom role. He's also on set pieces for Sunderland. So another 5.0 option that's really great. And the reason why I have him there is because he's playing West Ham, Burnley and Brentford in the first 3 games. So his first 3 games are really great for me. I think, you know, you can take him out if you want to once you reach game week 4. But again, you look at the players, the teams he's going to be playing against, which is those who are going to be rotating for European fixtures. So seeing how he performs, if he's in form, you can definitely keep him. If not, but Balaba number 1 for me. Dewsbury Hall, just because we're not sure of minutes. If he was sure going to start game week 1, I would have him at number 1. Enzo Lafie at number 3. So guys, that for me is the best midfield picks at every single price point. Let me know what you guys think, who I didn't cover, who I should have covered, who you would like, you know, thoughts on as well, and just hit me up in the comment section. I can definitely let you know. But also, most importantly, please subscribe. It really goes a long way to the channel and helping me. And then if you're still stuck on any drafts, you can check out the drafts that I have around here. And if you're looking for strikers, check out the video over there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.